You are listening to The Faction. While She Sleeps have a new album coming out. The album shares a name with a single that we've already had the pleasure of hearing. It's Sleeps Society, and this album is set for release in April 2021. And this Sleep Society is expanding too. To tell us more about that, from While She Sleeps, singer Loz joins me now on The Faction. Loz, thank you for speaking to The Faction.
No problem, mate. No problem. Good to hear from you guys. Yeah, so I'll just get right into it.
Do it.
Basically, a couple of albums back, we released an album called You Are We. And I think that the way that the Sleep Society has evolved is because of that record. We realised during that record that the best way to deliver the music and stay connected with our fan base was straight from the band, you know, like there was so many other people, like you had to go through so many middlemen, if you like, and so many other businesses to just get simple things done. And we just figured out that the best way to sustain this band for that campaign anyway was to go direct to the fan base. So for the You Are We record, we set out a pledge campaign, and that was basically, if you give a fuck about this band, you sort of crowdfund it, you know? So that was like probably our most successful record in terms of like, just in terms of the whole campaign in general. So I think that sort of lent itself to us getting to this point of like, how do we want to put out another record? How do we sustain the band and support the demand that the band has? And that got us to the Sleep Society, which is it's basically just a Patreon. But, you know, you get, you know, the people that are directly funding the band get extra perks and extra benefits and an extra inside look into sort of our lives and the running of the band and how we do things. So yeah, that's how we sort of, in a nutshell, how we got to the point of releasing the campaign in this way.
So the single Sleep Society, is that, I suppose, a tribute to these fans and these music lovers that have supported you during, I know it was pretty well documented during that You Are We era. Those fans have supported you during that era? Yeah,
it's basically just a place where anyone that cares about While She Sleeps, whether it's been from our first ever EP or whether it's a way that people can jump on and be like, do you know what, I'm really digging this band's sound, or I've loved this band for a long time. I'm going to support them in this way, you know. And the reason we decided to come straight out of the gate with the Sleep Society song is just because the message is there, it's right in your face, and it's direct to the people listening, you know. The main thing about the whole campaign for us is trying to get the message across that when people are just paying sort of 10 quid a month to stream all the music they want, pretty much, it's not a better way to do that is to give sort of the price of 2 coffees per month to your favorite few artists. You know, say you buy Starbucks like once or twice a day, do you know what I mean? Like you do that 5 times a week. If you switch that up and you support your artists in that same way, which isn't a great deal of cash, but it just means that the band can then focus on what's important, and that's the relationship from the band to the fan base, and vice versa. And also it means that bands can relax a bit on trying to be like a merch brand. Do you know what I mean? Like a clothing brand. It means they get to focus on what's important, and that is the music and the relationship that they have with their fan base. And that was the reason for coming out with the sort of the press conference that you see at the beginning of the music video. It's just a direct way of saying, look, we're trying to change things up a little bit. The current system isn't working for bands that are like While She Sleeps or the same size as we are, or, you know, even new bands, you know, like, I don't know, like, when I was a kid, I used to have to go and watch a band to decide whether I liked them or not. And nowadays, you just click a music video and you can instantly decide whether you like a band or not without really going to see them. And I think, like, it's a difficult time for up and coming, like, new emerging bands, because they're between a rock and a hard place, I feel, in terms of people prejudging them on, like, music videos which they probably don't really have the budget for initially, mixed in with not really getting money from any sales that they are sort of accumulating. So it's a really difficult time, and it's difficult for like While She Sleeps, you know, to remain focused on the music when there's so many other things that we have to put our time into to keep the band sustainable. And what the Sleep Society does, and the model that other bands can really take from what we're trying to say, is that is going to help sustain the band and give us the space and time to focus on sort of what's important. We've already seen a really, really sort of positive response to it, and it's nice to be able to go back to the fans that are, like, we're not trying to sort of, put any walls up between the people who aren't subscribing to our Patreon, who aren't in the Sleep Society, but it is nice to be able to go a bit deeper and a bit further in there with the people who are directly sustaining the band and give them the extra stuff and almost have the conversation with these guys and be like, what do you want from us? Like, what do you want to see more of within the society? What can we do to sort of say thank you for making this sustainable for us?
It's interesting you mentioned before about the way that we discover bands and the way that we value bands isn't the way it was so many years ago where you would judge them on their live performance. While She Sleeps, for me, is a very rare case of my introduction to the band was a live show. If I can tell you a story quickly, I was holidaying in Canada, and by chance, Trivium were playing 500 meters from my hotel, and I looked it up. It was in Montreal, and then I saw While She Sleeps were opening, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll get there an hour early and I'll see what they're all about. And the first thing that grabbed me was this energy. And I think the message towards the end, although not everybody in that crowd knew you, at the end of the show, I think the message you said at the end of the show was, thank you for inviting us and having us as your new friends from somewhere in the UK. It might have been Sheffield, I can't recall.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a very special moment because I got to see a band for the first time doing what they do best, and that's performing live. And the energy for me for While She Sleeps is the thing that grabbed me first. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about this energy. Has that always been a component of While She Sleeps?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a fan of metal. The earlier days for me, I got into sort of metalcore, if you like. I was a fan of Slipknot and Manson and Linkin Park, and all these bands sort of always kind of put out a high energy, and then from there moved into other bands like Adelaide Dying, Killswitch Engage, and then even like deeper into it with bands like At the Drive-In and bands like The Chariot and things, which go to the other end of the extreme where it's just sort of like all about the energy. For While She Sleeps, it's always been about that, and it's always been, there's a few things that we've always tried to pride ourselves on, and that's that sort of unity. Like, the main thing for us is the unity and the community that surrounds what we're trying to do. Like, that stuff for me is so important, and I think sort of luckily that's really sort of hooked onto While She Sleeps, and that's what we sort of promote. Like, when we were coming up, and a lot of like really heavy hardcore was sort of in trend and really popular, and it turned into this sort of windmilling and sort of punching each other and stuff like that. And although that's, that's great, if people want to let go of negative energy that way or feel free in that way, then like, by all means go and do it. That's cool. But for me, I was a bit more of a 90s dude, where it was a bit more about the push pit and the beer chugging, having a good old time. And that's what we kind of want from our shows. That's what I personally want to carry into our shows, the unity in the community. That mixed with the outlet that it gives us as people. Like, I use the stage as like my workout, you know what I mean? Like, when we're on the road and you're drinking beer all the time and just partying, that sort of 30 to 40 minutes as a support band was about letting go for me and really getting the workout in and like expelling that negative energy that I sort of had built up inside of me. And that was the same when I was a kid, like, how I got into this was finding out about these bands like Slipknot and like a load of punk rock bands, but going to my grandparents' garage, and like being like a messed up adolescent and just being able to let go and express myself in that way, and that's something that the whole band has carried through, and like, it really helps us in terms of a touring lifestyle. It really helps us day to day to let go of that energy. So I guess that's what we've carried on. And another thing is, like, you want to give people the most reason ever to be into your band. Like, if we go out and we're supporting bands like Trivium, their fan base is already there for Trivium. We want to go out there and, surprise and shock and make sure everyone is entertained, has a good old time with us, and, everyone's in the same sort of mindset when we come off stage. And like, I'm so glad that you came down early to see us play, because if people weren't doing that, then we wouldn't have a career. But also, like, I'm glad that you felt that energy from us, and that's like a really positive thing for me, and something that we've really strived for over the years to get across to people. Like, we just want everyone to have a good old time.
2 questions before I do let you go, Loz. The first one is, where can people go to get more information about joining the Sleep Society or becoming a part of the Sleep Society? And then a final message to your fans ahead of the release of Sleep Society in April next year.
Just whileshe-sleeps.com should link you to any place that you want to research our stuff or get into it a bit more. We're all over everything pretty much. So While She Sleeps on any sort of platform is fine to pick it up. We do have a Patreon site, and to be honest with you, as amateur as this is, I don't know if off the top of my head it's Patreon/Sleep Society or what that is, but if you head to Patreon, type in While She Sleeps, I'm sure you'll find it there. And that's just, go there, support the band if you're into us. We very much appreciate it, and there's tons of cool shit happening there. Like yesterday, we just did like a live recording session in the studio, and people can just literally watch us tracking songs for the new album. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be loads of cool interactive stuff there, and loads of like cool freebies and stuff like that. So that's the place. And just that, if anyone's seen us live and supported us in any way, it doesn't have to be the Sleep Society way, but anyone that's out there supporting us or knows of the band or comes to see us when we're over there with you guys, then, thanks so much for the support. It means the world to us to be able to continue this journey and do what we love to do. And I just hope that everyone sort of loves the tunes that we're churning out, and the support's amazing. So yeah, that's it.
While She Sleeps, the new album comes out in April next year. Sleep Society is the title of the album. We've already got the song Sleep Society to blast at our pleasure. Loz, singer from While She Sleeps, it's been a pleasure talking to you. All the best with the album release, and all the best with the rest of 2020.
Yeah, likewise to you, buddy. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.